Well, hello everyone. Welcome to our Thursday program. Been a busy couple of days, and today I suppose we're just mopping up and going through, following up quite a few of the stories that have been happening over the past few days, and perhaps moving on to some other news as well. But we do need to follow what I suppose now is a procedure. Now that we've got a new Prime Minister and probably a new government, let's see what's happening. We go to nationthailand.com. Srettha gets royal endorsement as Prime Minister, and PM-elect. Well, he's actually the Prime Minister now. Srettha Thavisin received royal endorsement on Wednesday, officially becoming the 30th Prime Minister of Thailand. And as we'll find out later, he didn't in fact meet the King at the palace. It was held at the Thai headquarters. And he's officially become the 30th Prime Minister of Thailand. The Royal Gazette published the royal endorsement of His Majesty the King yesterday. A ceremony was held at the Thai party headquarters in Bangkok at around 6 p.m. Following the royal endorsement, Srettha said, "Dear people, I affirm that I will work with integrity and prioritise the interests of the nation and the people. I'm confident that the next 4 years will be 4 years of change." He said that Thailand was confronted with challenges concerning the economy, society, ecology, corruption and inequality. As mandated by law, after the royal endorsement, the PM's required to appoint his cabinet. Once the cabinet gets royal endorsement, the PM must take the oath of office and declare his government's policies to Parliament within 15 days. And there's a photo there of the 30th Prime Minister of Thailand, together with some members of the coalition and the Thai party. A Bangkok Post reporting the same story says Srettha royally approved as PM. A dramatic photo there of the new Prime Minister pledging his allegiance to His Majesty the King at the Thai offices. And just some bits from that article. The nationally televised appointment ceremony started slightly after 6 p.m. at the headquarters of the Thai party, which leads the new 11-party coalition government. And Srettha said the 4 years from now will be 4 years of change. Thailand's at a turning point and needs urgent solutions to economic, public, security and international issues. And we'll make a few points about the new Prime Minister in just a moment, but part of the parliamentary process in governments that have this Westminster style of government is that smooth transition and the processes of a new government. And Thai PBS World reporting outgoing PM Prayut congratulates incoming PM Srettha. Outgoing Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha congratulates Srettha Thavisin on Wednesday, who's becoming the new Prime Minister of Thailand. Prayut said his government will be out of office since the Srettha-led cabinet members swear their oaths before their majesties. He says once the new cabinet is sworn in, my government will be out of office. Everybody should be calm. We respect the rules and democratic procedures. And Nation Thailand on the same story says Prayut congratulates Srettha, reckons new cabinet will be ready soon. And he said the outgoing Premier also said it would be up to the new government to decide whether or not it will continue any pending projects his government leaves behind. When asked about Phumjai Thai leader Anaton joining the Thai-led coalition as a member of the new cabinet, Prayut abruptly said, "It's nothing to do with me." It's been an interesting response from quite a few commenters over the past, 100 days, saying that Anaton's going to be the new Prime Minister, which was quite laughable, really, because within the sort of Thai political structure, there's this ABA movement, which is basically anybody but Anaton. He's not particularly well liked by any sides of politics, sort of tolerated, but at the end of the day, his party, the Phumjai Thai party, does command 71 House seats, so he is an important part, but not somebody that anybody wants to see become the Prime Minister of Thailand. And that Nation article finishing, he also dismissed rumours that there was a rift between him and Deputy PM General Prawit Wongsuwon, leader of the Palang Pracharat Party, which will also be part of Thai's 11-party coalition. So this elevation to the Prime Ministership of Srettha Thavisin ends the rule of the three generals, that trifecta of Prawit, Prayut and General Anupon, who've had an iron grip on Thai politics for over a decade or more. Srettha Thavisin's not a political animal, He's been a successful businessman. He's highly regarded. He's got the height. He's got the bearing. He certainly talks the talk when it comes to speaking to the media. And he's well respected, and this is the important part, by both sides of politics. So coming in as an outsider, I think, will be his biggest advantage. He's not tainted with any of the problems of past political conflict here in Thailand. I think any talk of anything like a coup is right off the table for at least the short term, and we should have 4 years of fairly stable government here in Thailand. Well, at least that's my prediction. Speaking of the timeline for this new government, Thai PBS World reporting that Srettha government expected to assume office by the end of September, and Deputy PM Witsanukreanam says he gives a timeline of about 3 weeks for a new government to assume office, 1 week for the completion of the cabinet lineup, 1 week for the secretariat of the cabinet to check the qualifications. You can bet all that's already been done. And then another week for the new ministries led by the Prime Minister to take an oath before His Majesty the King or his portrait. I'm not aware if His Majesty's in the country or not at the moment, but it says here that this oath of office can be taken in front of his portrait. And then from his long experience as Deputy PM, serving in several governments, Witsanu said that late September is the quickest possible. This means that the caretaker cabinet will continue to meet every week to consider and decide upon issues or projects which are not related to the new budget. So it looks like the former Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha and the caretaker cabinet will be sitting down every Tuesday in, I suppose most of September to keep the wheels of Thailand just churning along. Now, speaking about the other big story and what's been happening with the former fugitive PM Thaksin Shinawat, Bangkok Post reporting that no VIP room for Thaksin, says police. A lot of people in the comment section assuming that Thaksin's just sort of lounging around on silk armchairs, plotting his return to Thai politics. I don't think that's the case. The former Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawat was not admitted to a VIP room at the Police General Hospital. Just very quickly, just after midnight, after the day he returned, he was rushed to the Police General Hospital, just to put this in context. Even the air conditioning where he's staying is not up to par, said authorities. The hospital staff had to provide 2 electric fans to make it comfortable for the high-profile patient who arrived overnight from the Bangkok Remand Centre. He also denied that the room where Thaksin is staying had a beautiful view. In fact, it's adjacent to a glass wall, he said, and thus quite hot. The doctor was responding to reports and images circulating online which purported to show a VIP room that resembled a 5-star hotel suite on the 14th floor of the state hospital. Another image showed a view of the green expanses of the Royal Bangkok Sports Club. And at the correctional hospital, Thaksin was found to be suffering from acute chest pain, low blood oxygen and very high blood pressure. Doctors there tried to lower his blood pressure, but with only limited success. They then decided to make an urgent referral to the Police General Hospital, which has an agreement with the Department of Corrections to admit seriously ill patients into its custody. And the team included doctors specialised in heart and lung disease and COVID-19 treatment. Thaksin was not chained because the law spares convicts younger than 16 years or older than 70 from any confinement tools that could otherwise obstruct treatment. So we'll take it as reported from the Bangkok Post. Of course, people will believe what they want to believe in relation to Thaksin's return. Yes, I think there is a certain amount of political theatre going on. I don't think in any way he'll end up in prison for 8 years, and perhaps all this is part of a well-choreographed scenario that will eventually lead to either his pardon or an early release from custody. Now, an interesting piece from the BBC, reported by the Southeast Asian correspondent Jonathan Head, who is a very good journalist, and if you've got any doubts, just ask him. Now, this turned out as somewhat of an editorial, but it's under the headline of Thaksin's Return Seals Grand Thai Political Bargain. And the story from Jonathan Head, when fugitive former Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawat made his dramatic return to Thailand, there was one question everyone was asking: how long would he actually spend in jail? Now we know, just over 12 hours. To no one's surprise, opined Jonathan. Thailand's Department of Corrections said this morning that in order to monitor a heart condition, Mr. Thaksin was whisked to a civilian hospital at midnight. Well, it's not a civilian hospital. It's owned and run by the Thailand police force, mostly for Thai police. Thaksin Shinawatra, what was a former police officer in Thailand. And this editorial goes on, he's expected to stay there in his own private wing or floor while he prepares to petition King Vajiralongkorn for a pardon to set aside the 8-year prison sentence on 3 charges imposed in his absence. This was confirmed by the Supreme Court in Bangkok shortly after his arrival. And Jonathan continues, the end of Mr. Thaksin's 15-year-long exile is not an isolated event. It's part of a grand political bargain. Both sides now face a new threat in the form of the progressive and youthful Move Forward Party, which has brought them together. And the opinion continues, it's no coincidence that Mr. Thaksin returned on the same day Thai's candidate was voted the country's next PM. Property developer Srettha Thavisin was approved by substantial majority, enabled by a coalition which included parties which were once Thaksin's bitterest foes. And that Mr. Thaksin arrived several hours before the vote suggests he was confident of the outcome, and that he knew his deal between once irreconcilable adversaries was solid, and that by the end of the day he would enjoy the protection of having his own party in office. And given the high hopes of a fresh new start for Thailand when Move Forward stunned everyone, including its own young candidates, with its election victory in May, this is a dismal outcome for many Thai voters. So I'll put a link to that quite well-written editorial, quite a lot of opinion in there from Jonathan Head of the BBC. A link in the description of this video. Also in the description of this video is a link to 5 Star Marine, our sponsor. If you'd like to go on a VIP charter trip off the island of Phuket into Phangar Bay to visit 30-odd islands out there, some beautiful beaches and some great scenery, something that you need to do when you next come to Phuket. So please do the right thing. At least check out 5 Star Marine when you come along. There's a link in the description to a special discount. Thursday's TNT, let's move on to some other matters, and coconuts.co, the Bangkok edition, reporting public visibility of Krukai Kao statue to be restricted by order. And there it is, quite a gruesome looking statue. You'd wonder why any private business would want to put something so horrific up in front of their building. But then again, it's caused a lot of public interest and a lot of social media and photos. And the Bangkok Metropolitan Authority said earlier this week that the statue of Krukai Kao that's been causing a hullabaloo all month long will need to be obscured from public view. The statue began making waves on August the 9th when images of the large statue with yellow fangs, wings and red nails couldn't make it under a city overpass. Then came the reports that the deity, said to be a teacher of a former king of the Khmer Empire, was made up. Then rumours had it that worshippers sacrifice cats and dogs to it. While the provenance of the deity is still debated, local groups, including the Council of Artists supporting Buddhism of Thailand, have said the statue needs to be removed, equating it to devil worship. And statues under 10 metres, such as the 4-metre statue, do not require approval from the BMA, but the people-pleasing governor of Bangkok has reached a compromise where worshippers will still be able to see the statue, but commuters won't be affected, and the Bazaar Hotel, bizarre indeed, which hosts the statue, has been asked to erect a screen to prevent the statue from frightening or disturbing those that can see it from Ratchada Pisek Road, and plans for the screen need to be submitted to authorities. So they need approval for the screen, but they didn't need approval for the 4-metre statue. That story in coconuts.co. And to the Bangkok Post as we head to Chiang Mai. Chiang Mai finds 2 Mpox cases, dengue outbreak. I think the dengue outbreak, of course, is of much greater concern, but we'll go through the motions with the Bangkok Post. 2 monkeypox cases have been found in the city, while the Chiang Mai Provincial Public Health Office has warned that over 5,000 people in the provincial capital currently have dengue fever. That is a big problem. But to the Mpox case, The 2 confirmed Mpox cases are reported to be homosexual patients. The first case, a 31-year-old man whose name was withheld, said he recently had a one-night stand in Taiwan and became infected with Mpox while abroad. And the second case, a 40-year-old man whose name was not given, was infected in another province, but his symptoms started to show while he was travelling in Chiang Mai. And some 217 Mpox cases have been recorded in Thailand, almost all males, and 187 were Thai nationals. There's only been 1 Mpox death recorded in the country. But to dengue fever and almost 5,000 cases this year, compared to just 1,000 for the whole of 2022, and that's in Chiang Mai alone. He said if the dengue cases in the city's main district do not drop by the end of this month, the Chiang Mai Provincial Administration Organisation will label it a dengue outbreak area, which requires enforcement of the Communicable Diseases Act. Well, only communicable by mosquitoes. You can't get it from person to person. To another story, and this from South China Morning Post, and quite a big story and a big ongoing problem for Thailand amongst some of the other countries around Thailand. China teams up with Thailand and Laos to tackle cyber criminals in Myanmar who often target Chinese nationals. Stronger coordination needed to resolutely reverse gambling and fraud in Myanmar, and public security authorities of the 4 nations to also jointly tackle human trafficking related to Myanmar-based cyber scams. So a story we've been covering here on TNT over recent months. Let's find out the latest. Chen Hai, the Chinese ambassador to Myanmar, released a joint statement on Tuesday with his Thai and Laotian counterparts, calling for stronger coordination to crack down on scams and resolutely reverse the high incidence of crime. He says rampant online gambling and fraud in Myanmar are seriously jeopardising public life and property. The 3 embassies will make every effort to coordinate with Myanmar to carry out search and rescue operations and assist in stepping up efforts to crack down on gambling syndicates. Well, and the situation in Myanmar, of course, is a complete farce at the moment, and really very little chance of police cracking down on these Chinese cyber gangs. And 4 countries have set up a coordination centre in Chiang Mai for police cooperation in tackling cyber crime gangs. And senior Chinese officials, including the former Foreign Minister Jin Gang and Ambassador Chen, have urged Myanmar to do more to eradicate the groups behind the scams, which often involved Chinese criminals in cahoots with local gangs. While the Burmese junta and the military spend most of their time and resources fighting their own people, they don't have much time to crack down on these Chinese gangs. And crime action film No More Bets, inspired by the rampant online fraud cases, tells the story of a Chinese youth facing inhumane treatment after being lured and trapped into a cyber scam production line in Southeast Asia with their lives placed at risk. So some of these stories are now getting out to a wider audience, and people starting to understand the problem with these cyber gangs, and literally hundreds of thousands of people being increasingly affected by some of these scams. And we noted the other day that the Thai government's threatening Facebook with closure here in Thailand because Facebook itself is being used as a platform for some of these scam gangs. Be very careful out there online. I don't need to tell you, you just need to be very, very careful responding or clicking on any links. Thanks for joining us today as we round up some of the main news stories from around Thailand. Big thanks to 5 Star Marine, of course. A big thank you to you for your ongoing support, and we look forward to doing it again tomorrow.